I would have loved to play professional hockey. I'm currently going to go to play hockey at University of Prince Edward Island, but after that, I don't know what's next for me, and I wish I had a more clear path.
Ruby is just one of thousands of female hockey players in Canada whose dreams have been put on hold after the Canadian Women's Hockey League suddenly disbanded just under a year ago.
This sucks. It really sucks. It makes me feel, what do these players do now? Like, what do I do?
I have a goal of making the women's national team, but if I don't, then afterwards, how do I keep playing hockey and keep showcasing myself other than university? So, yeah, it's kind of worrisome.
Ruby and Meadow both play for the North York Storm junior team. They both have dreams of playing professional hockey for a living. But after the CWHL abruptly announced last spring it was folding, it left many female hockey players and the community like Ruby and Meadow scrambling and had to alter their dreams.
I kind of think about this on the hockey side of things too, because a lot of male players have the goal of, I'm going to play hockey the rest of my life. I can go to the NHL. This can be a full-time thing. But for women and female hockey, like you see Hayley Wickenheiser, she has to have something to fall back on.
Sarah Nurse helped Canada win a silver medal in women's hockey at the Olympics in 2018. She was also left wondering what's next in her career after only being in the CWHL for 1 year.
I was fortunate enough to get centralized for the Olympic team in 2017, and if I didn't, I don't even know if I would be playing hockey right now.
Nurse is part of the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association that launched in May after the other league collapsed. They are currently touring the game across North America in what they are calling the Dream Gap Tour, hoping to bring awareness to women's hockey and keep it in the spotlight. According to Hockey Canada, last year there were over 100,000 women registered to play hockey in the country.
When I look at those girls, I totally understand them, and this is why we're doing what we're doing. We're pushing forward for a better future for the sport, so girls at 13, 14 years old aren't dropping out of hockey. They're continuing to push forward because they see a future.
There is promise with the new organization, but time is running out for some players.
I think there is hope for sure, but it's a bit like, how long can we hope for something to happen until somebody actually does something? Like, the showcase tournaments are great, but you can't just have those forever.
Coming up on City News, there is some hope in what seems to be a confusing time for women's hockey in Canada. How the NHL recently featured some of Canada's top hockey players on one of the biggest hockey stages.
I just love being around my friends and the coaches that could teach me how to play hockey.
Maya is like so many girls in Canada. They just love to play hockey. But when it comes to their future and playing professionally, it's been in limbo since the Canadian Women's Hockey League suddenly folded last May. But after almost 365 days of confusion and fear, there's hope.
I think as we think back to last year, the CWHL folding was a blessing in disguise, and I think it's what we needed actually to really propel our game forward.
It's been a whirlwind year for women's professional hockey in Canada. Thousands of athletes trying to figure out what is next without the option of going to the CWHL.
I think it's definitely been a very challenging, trying year for sure. It's been so different than any of us have ever had in the past. We're all used to having a season, having a league, and having that structure, and now we're kind of flying by the seat of our own pants. And with the PWHPA, we've obviously put events together, and we've brought hockey to markets that don't usually get it, but it's definitely been completely unstructured.
Nurse is part of the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association that launched in May after the other league collapsed. They're currently touring the game across North America in what they're calling the Dream Gap Tour. They're hoping to bring awareness to women's hockey and keep it in the spotlight.
We actually hosted one of the PWHPA games here, and I was lucky enough to speak to a couple of the organizers, and they're pretty positive on the future. Right now, they're looking at this year as a rebuild year.
This year at the NHL All-Star Game in St. Louis, the NHL also took a big step to showcase women's hockey. Now, they've had women participate in the skills competition before, but this year it was different. On Sunday during the game, they had the inaugural women's 3-on-3 game where the best female hockey players in Canada and the U.S. showcase their skills to one of the biggest hockey audiences.
Their support has been incredible. It was so cool to be a part of that weekend and have the best hockey players in the world on one ice sheet. We got to wear, the NHL crest, and that was a pretty special moment, and I'm very optimistic for the future.
Nurse is hopeful that they will partner with the NHL and that a league will be formed in Canada that will properly showcase women's hockey and will also pay the players fairly. Lindsay Dunn, City News, Toronto.